All right, guys, I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report. It is October 23rd, 2025. We are still in Australia. We're on the Gold Coast. I'll be speaking at the Concilium Conference over the next couple of days, giving some solo talks, hosting some panels, some dinners, all sorts of stuff. Lots of power players over there. We'll be putting a bunch of stuff up on the channel, but we wanted to catch you up with what's going on in the United States of America, because if I'm not covering it, who in the world could you possibly watch? Is anyone else doing this on the internet? There's nobody else that does this sort of thing. So we're going to catch you up on everything going on. And then we've got a RubinReport.locals.com community Q&A on the other side. And I should say, I'll do a bit more of this when we get to the questions, because I saw them a moment ago. It was an intense night with the team last night. It involved bowling. It involved video games, Squid Games, and a whole bunch more. And there might have been a little Zin, which... Okay, let's do it. What's happening in America right now? Well, the big kerfuffle seems to be that Donald Trump has decided to build a ballroom at the White House. This is a man who has built probably hundreds, I don't know, we could do some research on this. Let's see. Hundreds, I'm going to guess, of buildings, hotels, redid the New York City skyline, Atlantic City, things all over the world, golf courses. We'll try to get a rough number on how many structures he's actually built. But he's building a ballroom at the White House. They are taking down the East Wing to do it. This is a man who builds things pretty quickly, usually under budget. And people are freaking out and claiming that he's not paying for it himself, or at least that it will not be paid for privately. So with him doing it and some private donors, here's The View making complete nonsense out of reality.
So Americans, the question is, are you on board with all of this? This is like a cash grab. Yeah. And your taxes are probably going to be paying for that.
That ballroom.
I mean, it's kind of kooky.
No, Whoopi, your taxes, my taxes, they're not going to be paying for it. But don't take my word for it. Listen to this from the official White House account. For over 100 years, presidents have enhanced the White House, preserving its legacy as a symbol of our nation. Today, President Trump proudly broke ground on the new big White House ballroom. Privately funded, let me repeat that, privately funded, it costs taxpayers nothing and will be cherished for generations. So there you go. There is absolutely no evidence that this is going to cost taxpayers a dime. By the way, you could make an argument. I wouldn't make the argument right now relative to the economy and all the things going on in the world. You could make the argument that taxpayer dollars could fund an expansion of the White House, or to build a ballroom, or change things. All sorts of presidents do all sorts of things, expand the White House. Barack Obama put a basketball court there, right? They do different things, but this is not going to cost the taxpayers anything. But the media and the left are always looking for something, and they don't mind lying about it. I thought this tweet from Hillary Clinton was rather interesting. It's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it. And of course, there's an image that looks very scary of Demo. I'm redoing our master bathroom right now. It's dirty, and there's a lot of dust all over the place before they fix it and clean it up. But interesting, Hillary, Donald Trump's destroying the house. Now, if we were to go back about 30 years, what is it that your husband did in the Oval Office when he was sitting on a chair with an intern on his lap and a cigar while on the phone with the House Majority Leader, Trent Lott? That was kind of worse than building a ballroom, but it's a PG-rated show, and I don't want to say what he did with that cigar, but it was not something that... Here's Caroline Levitt explaining that the Democrats have nothing, so they're feigning outrage on this.
And I believe there's a lot of fake outrage right now, because nearly every single president who has lived in this beautiful White House behind me has made modernizations and renovations of their own. And in fact, presidents for decades in the modern time have quipped about how they wish they had a larger event space here at the White House that can hold hundreds more people than the current East Room and state dining rooms can. And while many presidents have privately dreamt about this, it's President Trump who is actually doing something about it.
Yeah. So again, Whoopi, if there's a shred of integrity, what you right now would do on the show is correct yourself. Say that it's not taxpayer money who did this. Joy, or if you want Joy or Sunny or one of the other ladies to read the correction, but there is simply no evidence that any taxpayer dollars are going to go to this. And presidents, again, do all sorts of things, and having a bigger ballroom is probably just fine, right? Like, that is okay. And again, because it ain't going to come out of your dollars, who cares? But let's leave that part there. I thought this was rather interesting. Jen Psaki, a woman who basically has been paid to lie for over a decade now. I don't even know what she did before she was White House press secretary, but she was paid to lie during that. Then she got a show on MSNBC where she was also paid to lie. Listen to her, what their next move is going to be, because the midterms are coming up. Man, it all never ends. The midterms are coming up, and then, Trump is going to have to basically decide who his successor is, or the Republicans will have to decide, some combination thereof. Likely it will be JD, who obviously is qualified, who actually is in Israel right now as we're recording this, and he's dealing with some of the fallout of the ceasefire, because it's been a little bumpy, to say the least. But anyway, listen to her on a podcast talking about how JD is actually scarier than Trump. Remember when they were doing that with DeSantis, when they thought he might be the nominee? He's going to be Trump, but with a calculator. He'll be much scarier. And then starting to go after JD's wife.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, JD Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like,
Agreed.
Are you okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah.
And
ambitious.
And ambitious. And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is JD Vance is not – he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right?
None.
And he just is a little odd.
Oh, no way. No, he's got no riz and no drip and other buzzwords. What else do they say now? The kids, give me a buzzword that the kids say. What?
Motion.
He's got no motion or any of that stuff. And he's young and he's ambitious. He wants to do things. It's so ridiculous. But you see it. You can see it already. Whoever comes after Trump, likely it is JD. But whether it's Junior, it could be anybody, right? But what will they have to do at this point? Because all they have is fear, because all they used with Trump was the Hitler thing, they will have to make you think he's Hitler on steroids. Again, it's exactly what they did to DeSantis during the primaries. And that obviously, it put some stank on him for sure. And then Trump dealt with him accordingly. But that is going to be the move. But then to somehow imply that his marriage with Usha, that she's somehow a hostage and blink twice and all of that, she seems completely thoughtful to me and interesting and happy, and they have 2 young kids. There's just no evidence of that. These people are just gross. And why are they gross? It's because their ideas are terrible. And when you have terrible ideas, you will accidentally say terrible things. So I thought this was interesting. This is Katherine Clark. She's the number 2 House Dem. And here she is admitting that the pain is really the only leverage that the Dems have when it comes to the shutdown.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
Say what now, lady? Is that what you just said? Did you just say what I think you just said? That the shutdowns are terrible and it's going to hurt some people, but that's when you get leverage? I mean, that might be politically true, but to say that about your own constituents, because it's your guys that are hurting the most, because most of the people who are furloughed right now are Democrats, because Democrats tend to be the people that are working in government. It's a little odd that you would say that. Of course, it's only to the backdrop of the clip we showed you yesterday when Bernie was on The View. And what's her name? Sarah Haynes asks him about why the Congress people get paid when the other people don't. And he's like, well, some of them are young. They have young families and they need the money. And it's like, man, you guys, What is it, guys? It's that thin veneer. You peel that thing off and they are self-righteous. You suddenly realize they don't really care about you. They care about themselves. They care about accumulating power. And you are used as a pawn of pain in their game to do just that. Let's talk about balance of nature, and then we'll have more in a moment. If you're looking for an easy way to get more fruits and vegetables into your day, Balance of Nature fruit and veggie supplements can make it simple. Each capsule contains the natural goodness of 16 whole fruits and 15 vegetables, all freeze-dried, lab-tested, and made without binders, fillers, or flow agents. It's 100% whole food ingredients, just as nature intended. You can take the capsules with water, chew them, or open them up and mix the powder into your food or drinks. However you use them, they deliver the original balance of color, taste, and smell straight from real fruits and vegetables. Balance of Nature is all about making good nutrition convenient so you can get the benefits of whole foods wherever you go. Right now, when you visit balanceofnature.com, you'll get a free fiber and spice supplement plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer when you use code Rubin at checkout. That's balanceofnature.com, code Rubin. Okay, so the other thing happening across America right now is we had those No King rallies over the weekend, and that's really to the backdrop of what's been happening with ICE. And ICE is a federal agency that has been tasked with getting illegals out of the country. That is largely, I think you could say, what Donald Trump ran on and is keeping his word when it comes to. Of course, the Democrats, what are they saying? They're grabbing black and brown people. What did Jon Stewart say? They're throwing grandmothers on the linoleum floor. I mean, it's all just hysterical nonsense. They're not taking random black and brown people. They're not going after legal immigrants. The Democrats never make the distinction between legal and illegal and all of that stuff. And they ramp up the hatred of these people, right? Why are they wearing masks? And they tell you they're the modern Gestapo and Stephen Miller's a Nazi and all of these things. And what does it lead to? Well, a U.S. Marshal was just shot in Los Angeles.
News alert. This is video that we just have in from moments ago from Los Angeles. This is according to multiple ICE and Fox News sources. A U.S. Marshal and an illegal alien were both shot in L.A. this morning. It was during an immigration operation. Both at this time, we are told, have non-life-threatening injuries. Fox is told that federal agents surrounded and boxed in a target. That target then rammed federal vehicles in an attempt to escape. The feds fired their weapons. One U.S. Marshal was hit in his hand in what initially appears to be a bullet ricochet. The target criminal alien was hit in the elbow, we are told. Both expected to be okay, and they are at the hospital, and we are awaiting an update on that situation.
Okay, so as far as I know, as of us recording this right now, there is no update on that, but hopefully he was just shot in the hand and he will be okay. But why would they be shooting ICE agents? Why would you be shooting federal marshals? Well, if you've been ginned up enough to think that these people are the modern Nazis and they come knocking on your door, whether you're illegal or legal, right? Like they might knock on the door of someone who is there legally, who's housing an illegal or whatever the circumstances might be. This is what they have done. They absolutely have led to this. And if you want to see a more perfect example of what they've led to, right outside the hospital where that agent is recovering right now, listen to this guy.
Don't forget where you're standing. This is South Central Los Angeles. They are not the only ones with guns in this city. They're not the only ones, and don't forget that. And I don't say that because we're calling for violence. I'm saying that because the people have every right to defend themselves against masked, unidentified gunmen with AR-15s and other military rifles. The people have every right to defend themselves.
Actually, you did just call for violence, and you might say, Dave, that's just some random angry dude out there. But actually, he's not just random, and this shows you why everything is connected. Yeah, he's an LA public school teacher. Listen to this from Ash Farms on X. Ron Gochez is a teacher at Maya Angelou High School in LA. This is who is teaching immigrant children to be violent. This year, the California Teachers Association gave him their Human Rights Award. We should cut funding to LA schools until he is fired. Think about how crazy that is. I am for everyone, whether they are a blue, brain-broken, progressive Democrat in Los Angeles. If they want a gun, they should have a gun. And if you're a freedom-loving Floridian, you should have a gun too, and you should be able to defend your family and your property and all of those things. But he's out there basically saying to people, if ICE knocks on your door, because the implication really is he's admitting, he knows. They know that they're going after illegals. So he's basically saying, illegals, get a gun and shoot the guys who show up to your door. And that guy is teaching in Los Angeles. So when we wonder about how does this all happen over time, imagine what that guy is probably telling his kids. Imagine what's going on in his classroom. And then we wonder how things went so far off the rails. I guess you don't have to wonder that much. Listen to this. This is Robert Garcia, a Democrat, talking about there's a new app coming out so that they can track ICE officers.
I shared this with the mayor. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, the Oversight Committee will be launching on their website a master ICE tracker where we're going to be essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify that the community will be able to send us information on.
Well, that's interesting. They're going to be tracking the ICE agents. Now, ICE, again, these are people who took the job so that they could defend the country, defend the Constitution, defend our borders. They are doing legally what they have been tasked to do, which is get rid of illegals. But now the Democrats come in and there's going to be a website and or an app where they're going to track what they're up to. Well, this is interesting from Kevin on X. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, it is a crime to knowingly commit certain acts, including harboring or concealing, hiding, shielding, or concealing a person from detection by immigration authorities. The definition of harboring varies by court, but generally includes conduct that substantially facilitates an immigrant's ability to remain in the country illegally. So did you catch that? We have laws on the books that basically say if you knowingly are harboring these people, if you're making sure that they cannot be caught, cannot be found out, you are breaking the law. And yet the Democrats right now are asking the community to get on a website to tell people where ICE is, what they are doing, et cetera, et cetera. So at some point, the Democrat Party is actually breaking the law as an institution. But this, again, is what they have ginned up, this level of craziness. So let's do something sane as it pertains to all of this. Tom Homan, the man who will play Tom Homan in the movie about Tom Homan called The Tom Homan Story. Here he is talking to Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen seems, I like Stephen, seems a little confused about the mask situation. Tom cleans it up.
They have to make sure it's clear. An ICE agent getting to conceal their identity is not a privilege or a situation that other law enforcement officials have. Why should ICE agents have that?
I don't particularly like the mask either, but name another law enforcement agency that's over 1,000% attacks on them. And name another law enforcement agency whose spouses and children have been doxxed on social media and been attacked and bullied in churches and schools. These men and women put a gun on their hip and wear a Kevlar vest to go on the streets every day, look for the worst of worst, makes this country safer. Them wearing a mask, if that protects them and protects their families, then that has to be done.
Yeah, that is just true. Otherwise, no one will take the job. If you take the job thinking that your family is going to be doxxed, that they're going to go after your kids, they're going to show up at your house, do all of the unthinkable things that we don't even want to mention, then you will not take that job. And then guess what will happen? Well, as the robots come and Optimus and everything else, we'll have robot agents that will do these jobs. We're probably going to have that either way. But for now, you want to protect the people who, again, how many people do you think are joining ICE like, I really just want to do some bad shit? And that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I'm going to take this job where I might get shot and someone's going to dox my family and, say horrible things about my wife and my children. It's just patently absurd. I also like the fact that Homan says, I don't really like it in principle either. That's basically what he's saying. No one really likes the idea of that. We would love, I think in the healthiest atmosphere, unfortunately, we're just not in it because of what the Democrats have created. We would all love for all of your police officers and your ICE agents and any federal officer clearly marked with their name. We'd like to see their face, blah, blah, blah. But when you guys have created the conditions that lead to people going after their families and everything else, well, then you cannot be surprised when they're going to take some action to protect them, which is exactly why Peter Parker wore the mask. It wasn't about him. It was about Aunt May and Mary Jane and Uncle Ben, although he kicked the bucket pretty early on, and blah, 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 blah. But okay, let's go thousands of miles away, although it's a little closer to where I am right now. Let's talk about Japan for a second, because they have elected their first ever female prime minister. Does not matter that she is a woman, but she is a bad-ass chick, and it seems like she is going to be a great prime minister, and she basically ran on kind of a Trumpian, we are going to kick the illegals out of the country. Her name, Sanae Takaichi. Did I get that right? I have Joseph here from China, which is different than Japan. Japan's small, China big, but can you say her name properly? Here, you can come into the camera. There you go. Look.
Sanae Takaichi.
That wasn't so good. What are you applauding him for? That wasn't so great. But remember, more importantly, China big, Japan small. Sanae Takaichi, here she is talking about booting the illegals.
I intend to thoughtfully reconsider, starting from the very beginning, how we can build peaceful, mutually considerate, and respectful relationships with people from other countries, focusing on understanding and cooperation with foreigners. We need to carefully reconsider the policy of bringing in large groups of people every year, whose cultures, backgrounds, and everything else are so significantly different from ours. Those who come here for economic reasons and claim to be refugees will be properly and appropriately sent back. In addition, those who are staying illegally will also be strictly required to obey the law.
Okay, so that obviously was AI translation, but in essence, she just said what we all know to be true. Japan, like every other sovereign nation, is allowed to set their borders. They're allowed to decide who's in their country, who is not. They're also allowed to decide if someone's in their country and is actively trying to destroy their country, they can boot him. I think more and more countries are going to start realizing this thing. But I also realized that we have another person of the, what would we call the Asian variety here. Young Joseph there, originally from China. We've got Joey here. Joey and Joseph, it can get a little confusing. Korean heritage, not Japanese, but I thought you could say Sanae Takaichi, and maybe that would offer a better translation for me. Could you get in? You can get in there.
Sanae.
Maybe a little, I'm not sure if you're in frame.
Sanae Takaichi.
He was born in New Jersey, so that's some good work. That's some good work there. Okay. Listen to this from Colonel Otaku Gatekeeper on X. Sanae Takaichi has created a new ministry dedicated to mass deportations and has appointed Kimi Onada for the job. She is ready to enact re-immigration. And here's video of Kimi Onada.
We will not tolerate illegal stay, illegal employment, or abuse of the system. We will not allow the system, which Japanese people dutifully support, to be exploited. Synthetic drug fentanyl. The Liberal Democratic Party will never allow it. For some time now, we have been hearing concerns from the public, such as worries that the number of foreigners who do not follow the rules is increasing, and anxiety over land being rapidly bought up by foreign capital. The Liberal Democratic Party aims for zero illegal foreigners and will steadily advance effective policies step by step.
First off, I love how it kind of sounds like a video game and the music and everything else. But interestingly, yeah, the Liberal Democratic Party, because over there, liberal does not mean what it means now in America, which basically means half retard. Like they actually get it. But again, they are allowed. They are allowed. Even if I did not like what their policy was, every country, whether it's, I mean, think about it. Hungary, they want it to be for Hungarians, right? Japan, they want it to be for the Japanese. Mexico wants to be for the Mexicans. Everyone is allowed to do that. That's the purpose of the nation state. And if you have people coming in and they're bringing, as she said, synthetic fentanyl, or they have other countries buying up their land, as we've had China buying up a ton of farmland in the United States, it is your duty and your right as a sovereign nation to deal with that properly. So it's great to see that out of Japan. Quick ad with Morgan & Morgan, and then we'll do a quick Q&A on the other side. If you've ever been seriously hurt in an accident, your injury could actually be worth millions, and most people have no idea. Insurance companies love to lowball claims, offering way less than what you deserve. That's why there's Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm with over 1,000 attorneys across 50 states. They've been fighting for people for more than 30 years, and they don't settle for lowball offers. Just recently, they won $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philadelphia, and $6.8 million in New York, all way above what insurance companies offered. And the best part, it's completely free unless you win. No upfront costs, no hidden fees. It takes only a couple minutes to see if you have a case. Did you know you can start a claim with America's largest injury law firm in just one click? It's super easy. Just go to forthepeople.com/Rubin or click the link in the description and pin comment. Okay, we're back. Joseph feels that he did not pronounce Sanae Takaichi's name properly and he wanted to get back in. Again, he's from originally family from China, China big, Japan small.
Sanae Takaichi. Oh.
Somebody watch Cobra Kai. All right. Here we go. Akabzo says, what is the biggest difference between Australia now and when you were there 3 years ago? Joey is fully rethinking his entire career and life right now. Well, actually, it's completely connected to the segment that we just did, which is that Australia, which is a massive country. So Australia, size-wise, is the size of the United States. The United States has about 350 million people. Here in Australia, they have 27 million people, mostly on the coasts. Not much going on. There's farmland in the middle of the country, but a lot of it's arid and desert. Not a ton going on there. But they have a huge immigration problem. They don't have an illegal immigration problem, really. They stop the boats. So it's not about illegal immigration because obviously this is an island sort of in the middle of nowhere across the world. But the mostly lefty Labor government, but it's happened with several governments, let in an awful lot of people. So there are a huge amount of Middle Eastern and African immigrants here. You see them everywhere, and it's not to say that they're all bad, but there's a lot of pro-Palestine stuff, particularly in Melbourne. I talked about that a couple days ago. And there is a integration problem, and they don't know exactly what to do with it. But now I think there's a party called what's it called? The Australian Home Party, or we'll clarify what it is. That is really going a little more hawkish on the immigration stuff. And Albanese, who just met with Trump, he is from the Labor Party, so he's a lefty. So he has not been great on this stuff. Is it the Australian Home Party? We're gonna figure it out in just a second. And we will see if they get a more right-leaning government, if they too are going to do what Japan is doing right now. So I would say that's been the major difference, that there does seem to be a difference in the populace. And that is disappointing. The reason we came back to Australia, I mean, we were invited to do some shows and I'm at this conference, but I wanted to go back ever since I was here 6 years ago with Jordan. I had a tour planned for Don't Burn This Book that got canceled by COVID. We're working. No, there's an Australian Citizens Party, but I think there's a newish party.
One Nation.
Thank you. It's called One Nation, and they're the party that's really focusing on the immigration stuff. Kathy Fish says, hey, Dave, if someone shows up at your house on Halloween dressed up as Charlie Shooter, are you going to give them candy? We have over 1,000 trick-or-treaters that come to our house, and this is the question weighing on me. Wow. I mean, well, first off, we're going big on Halloween this year. My house is already all decked out. We've been into it for weeks. And I've mentioned to you guys that the kids since August have been playing Ghostbusters theme song nonstop. So I've basically been in a 4-month Halloween zone at home. Well, no, I would not. If someone showed up as Charlie Shooter, I can't even imagine exactly what that costume would look like. But no, I would not give them candy and I would not want them on my property and anything else. I get it. Halloween is about horror and demons and all of those things. But there are things that are a bridge too far. And if you do that, you are not getting the mini Reese's cup from me. Love their meat. What's your favorite candy?
Milky Way.
Milky Way, Connor, Joey, favorite candy? Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Punch Straws.
Sour Punch Straws, which
what's going on? Sanu.
Okay, I like the mini peanut butter cup. You know, you're getting just enough of the peanut butter. Frank says, hey, Dave, how do we stop the Israel derangement syndrome on the woke right? Look, it's a big issue. They have a version of it here, too. I'll roughly repeat what I said at the show in Melbourne when I was asked a question like this. There's 200,000 Jewish Australians. They have come here, and I've been asking a few people, including former Deputy Prime Minister John Anderson. The Jewish community here, they've built industry. They've been part of every cultural thing in music and building hospitals and medical and innovation and all of these things, and fully integrated to this society, never tried to convert anybody. The same thing that Jews do every Western country that they go to. And what I said on stage when asked about this was, look, I don't know a ton about Australia's internal politics per se, but I do know that if things keep going the wrong way with all this Israel stuff, which of course ultimately leaks to the Jew stuff. Where do you think Australia will be if the 200,000 Jews of Australia have to go? Let's say they make it happen. So the Islamists keep gaining power and the leftists keep gaining power and everything. Does that mean Australia would be better or worse? So those 200,000 people, they likely have to go to Israel. Some of them probably come to America or whatever it is. And by the way, I'm not saying that it's that severe here. It's far worse in the UK than it is here. But the point is that ultimately, if you don't care about the Jews and you don't care about Israel, that's just fine. But as an Australian, you should care about Australia. As an American, you should care about America, right? So if you care about your country, if they're coming for the Jews, ultimately it will not be good for your country. Any country that they've come after the Jews, it just does not end up well. So the best thing we can do is, I would say, fight for if you live in the West, is fight for your country's values, which are not at odds with having Jews there or anything else. I will keep pushing Tucker and some of those guys on this. And I think ultimately the good guys do win. There's a lot of pain points on the way, but the good guys do win. Trying Daily says, if you could choose one crazy media person on one of the crazy channels to sit down with, who would it be? Oh, man. That is a great question. So any of the people that I mock all day long, I mean, look, I would love to go on The View and deal with all 5 of them at once. I really would. We have requested it many times. We've reached out to them many times. They never get back to us, but I absolutely would do it. But if I had to pick one person to sit down with, maybe Jon Stewart, actually. Like, there would be something to the Maddow thing or the Muppet over there on MSNBC or the guy who stole my brooch or, just any of those people, like Tapper. That would be kind of boring in its own way. But Jon Stewart, I think, I interned for the guy back in 1999. As I always say, he should have been, I think, ultimately what I've sort of become, which is a defender of true liberalism instead of going the other way and being a part of the progressive madness. And even though I've made fun of him and all of that stuff, I would really try to have a professional, hopefully somewhat funny, agree to disagree conversation with him. So that probably be the one. That one doesn't seem like that far off. Like the MSNBC people probably never put me on, but maybe something could happen with John one day. Elizabeth says, so who in the photo had chlamydia? Well, we took the team, completely out of context. We took the team to a preserve here, or a reserve. It's sort of like a zoo in essence, where they have kangaroos and they have koalas and they have tons of birds and they have crocodiles, and they're really awesome. And you get to go into the pens and you can play with some of the animals and all that kind of stuff, and you can feed them. And the koalas, I took a selfie. We'll show it to you right now. Here's a picture of me, selfie, koala. That's Phoenix in the background. And I tweeted out that there's a 48% chance that someone in this picture has chlamydia, and that's because 48% of the koalas here have chlamydia. People sort of got the joke, but the question is, so if the question is who has chlamydia in that picture, is it me, the koala, or Phoenix? Well, it's Phoenix, obviously. Perplexity AI, and then more on the other side. Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend every day clicking around on your web browser? Searching, scrolling, typing, juggling endless tabs? It adds up fast, right? Well, there's a new AI-powered web browser from Perplexity called Comet, and it's completely changing the way we interact with the internet. Comet isn't just another browser. It's like having a personal assistant that lives inside your browser and actually does things for you online. You can ask Comet to handle tasks, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would to get things done in the background while you go about your day. Comet can shop for you, make reservations, book flights or hotels, summarize articles or videos, send emails, schedule meetings, pay bills, find promo codes, even unsubscribe you from spam. I tried it myself, and watching Comet actually do things in real time is wild. It's like seeing the future of web browsing unfold right on your screen. You can even check out the demo to see Comet in action. So if you're ready to take back your time online, download Comet today at pplx.ai/Rubin. That's pplx.ai/Rubin. And when you download Comet right now, you'll get a free month of Rumble Premium. Try it today and let your browser finally work for you. J-Rock says, Dave, why do you think that the protesters in front of the ICE facilities don't understand that they're not accomplishing anything? Because in some sense, it doesn't, whether they think they're accomplishing anything or not, whether they think it's good what they're doing or not, they're just doing something. I think this far more goes to a crisis of meaning with people than anything else. Like the hysteria around this, whether they're bashing Donald Trump piñatas, or you're an LA school teacher basically saying shoot people, or the guy we showed you the other day. It's like, or the woman on Fox News who was hysterical crying about the Nazis being here. They've broken so many brains, and these people, they're not doing enough with their lives. What has happened here largely is that conservative-leaning people are doing things with their lives. They're building things. They're building tech. They're building industries. They're building businesses, starting stores, starting businesses, all of this stuff. They're starting families. They're busy with the things of life. And then there's this other group of people who have been largely brainwashed, who are more dependent on the system, who constantly want to be in a state of revolution no matter what. So it's sort of like Greta Thunberg. She was the climate alarmist, but the second that thing wrapped up, because people realized it was mostly BS, now she's all about Hamas. And that is the jump for these people. And when that thing wraps up, which eventually it will, because these things only have a certain shelf life, she'll be on to something else. So I don't know what the average person who is out there, do they really think they're doing good? Well, the answer to that obviously is yes, because most people think they're doing the good thing. But also, are their intentions good? Sure. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I would say get a hobby. Jeffrey says, do you have any tips for young parents? Maybe this is a little cliche, but I would say go out of your way in the moments where it's getting crazy. And it is always getting crazy. Whatever it might be, somebody crying for this or that, or you give them cereal and they throw the whole bowl over on the table, or take a marker and draw all over the wall, or any of the chaos moments. As frustrating as they can be and as tiresome as they may be, I really always try to stop myself and just think back, like, these are the good old days. It's all good. How blessed we are. These kids are happy and healthy, and just don't go down. You're going to do it. We all do it. I assure you I do it sometimes when you're just like absolutely overwhelmed. It could be the end of a long day and they just won't go down for a nap, and you've read 10 books and you've done all the stuff. But just try to enjoy the ride. Like, it sounds so cliche, but if you could do like a little bit extra of that, I think it actually grants you a lot of grace in parenting. Brian says, what are some favorite things that you and the team have seen or experienced in Australia so far? Well, definitely going and playing with the kangaroos and all that stuff was great. But I will say our best moment as a team was probably last night. We went out to a Mexican joint. There was some tequila. There were some margaritas. There were some fajitas. There were some tacos. There were some more tequila. There were some more margaritas. And then we went bowling as a team. We'll see what pictures and B-roll Connor is willing to authorize to get into this video right here. And we bowled. Connor crushed it, actually. Bowled. Pretty good. Having a good time. Then we went across the way to the arcade. Maybe there was more tequila. Whatever it is. There might have been a little zin. We go to an arcade. I haven't been to an arcade in probably 15 years. Now, in my day, an arcade had Pac-Man and had Galaga and NBA Jam and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And you'd stand there and you'd have a little dial and some buttons and you'd play a game for a while. Frogger, you'd cross the street, you'd eat a fly, come back this way. Nobody got hurt. Nobody left an arcade going, my God, my arm hurts. I can't breathe. I think I might have had a heart attack. In these places now, you're basically in Squid Games. You have to do physical things. You have to grab ropes. You have to punch things. You have to pump things. You have to jump across a fiery lava floor, tapping wall. It's absolutely insane. I left the arcade like 2 hours later, dripping with sweat as if I was in a hot sauna for 3 hours. It was painful, man. But we had a good time. But you know what? You can show the B-roll of when I went to play that game on the screen and I literally couldn't even turn it on, and there was some kid with video game gloves like ding, 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 and you realize my video game heydays are over. But if anyone wants to play Contra on 8-bit Nintendo, up, down, left, right, BA, select, start, like, I will crush that. Nimbus says, having visited several countries during your Don't Burn This World tour and listened to the concerns of locals, what is your one piece of advice to people or nations on how not to burn this world? I love that question. It's perfect that it's the last question of the day. It's what I've been ending the shows with. So far, I'm trying to do a different show every night because we do a bit of a live Rubin Report. So we write the show in the morning. I do a little bit of stand-up. I mess around with the crowd, all that stuff. We do some local Australian stuff since we've been here. But I've ended all the shows with a clip of Charlie, because there's been a lot of questions about Charlie. And obviously the last, almost 2 months now, in some sense, everything politically and culturally has been framed around what happened to him. And Charlie was about fighting, right? Like, you've got to fight. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, it's left to the guys that you see on TV or on the internet to fight. Like, Charlie's supposed to fight, or Rubin's supposed to fight, or Shapiro should fight, or blah, 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 blah. But really, it is you guys that are supposed to fight. I'm just one guy. I'm doing what I think is right. trying to make a difference, but everybody makes a difference. Like when you're at your office and they come at you with some DEI thing and you say, no, this is bullshit. Or when your kid comes home from school and his name's Brian and they come back telling him he's Brianna and then you fight it, that's your way of fighting. Like everyone should fight to the extent that they can. And it's not easy. And there's pain points and there's going to be friends that are going to throw you aside and you might lose relationships with your family and all of that stuff. But it is better than being part of the problem, which in essence, if you just go along with it, if you just acquiesce to their craziness all along the way, that's how they got here. And the world does feel like it's on fire. Again, what I tell you a few minutes ago, like the immigration problem they have here is what they were having in Japan. Japan seems to be doing something about it. Australia doesn't seem to be totally sure, but it's way worse in the UK and it's way worse in France and Belgium and some of these countries. So do you want to be those countries? So unless you do something, you're the frog in the pot. And it does not end well for the frog. It does end well for us, though, because we're here on the Gold Coast and I'm going to go out to the beach. See you tomorrow.